I watched Watership Down. Obviously, this is an adaptation of the book that I read a few weeks ago, months ago. I made a review of it. Here's the box. The story overall was pretty good. If you weren't familiar with the story of Richard Adams' original novel, you would have been able to follow along pretty well. The running time is only 92 minutes, so obviously they had to make a few cuts here and there and rearrange things, and I'm a purist when it comes to literary adaptations, and so yeah, it bothered me a little bit. It was really hard to tell the rabbits apart, even though they eliminated some of them. They eliminated a lot of them, actually, and I felt that there was a lack of individual personality. Props to them for making it work and not changing anything too drastically. However, there were some things that I noticed were missing or were changed, and I did have a problem with the whole thing about getting mothers, getting mates for the rabbits. They changed that up. Hazel's expedition to go and find the rabbits at the farm, they changed the sequence of it so that he goes and does that before they've even, I think they do that right after they leave Cowslip's Warren, and they haven't reached Watership Down yet, and he just has this idea, which makes him seem brilliant. That ended up not even going anywhere, though, in this movie. They come back to them, and they do set them free, but after that, Hazel's shot, and the other two, they came with him, Blackberry and Dandelion, they get away, but the domesticated rabbits, I guess they're just put back in their hutch, and that's the last we see of them. There were no stories, except for in the beginning. The beginning starts with the narrator, Ralph Richardson, telling the story about Frith creating all the rabbits, and it talks about Ellerhurrah. There were references, but there weren't any other stories. I don't know, it was such a big part of the book. Even though I wasn't crazy into it, it was an essential part of the characterization of these rabbits and what was so important to them, what drove them. The animation was, well, the background scenery, it was beautiful. It was like an extensive series of watercolors. Everything had lots of depth. It was lovely. And then the rabbits would come in, and there are these like solid colors, and there's none of that variance of shading to them. And I knew who was Hazel based on who was talking, because Hazel was voiced by John Hurt. It was funny because I don't know, John Hurt always sounds older. He's got a very husky quality to his voice and his diction, and I pictured Hazel as, you know, if he was a person, he'd be like 25, 26 years old. That's how I pictured him. And I don't know, he just sounded like he was in his 40s or something. Pipkin was the only one who looked like a bunny. Like, all of them you would say, oh, that's a rabbit, but Pipkin was the only one who looked like a bunny. And I don't know if they were trying to make him look juvenile. Hazel's a 45-year-old guy, and Pipkin is 12. The music was really pretty. It was a lush orchestral score, and it had some intense swelling parts, and Bird, the seagull, kee-har, kee-har! That's how you're supposed to say it. He had his own theme. It was this kind of whimsical, fun saxophone theme. But there was this one song that they wrote this song called Bright Eyes, and it was sung by Art Garfunkel, and it was about death, I guess. Towards the end of it, it just faded, and I didn't think that the song was over. I thought, oh, maybe it's gonna come back, but it didn't. And it was accompanying these really bizarre animations, and the movie has a very artistic look. It's very, sometimes it's kind of abstract, and some scenes, they look like paintings that you'd put on your wall, and others, they were like cartoon, like very definite cartoon drawings. Like the opening, it was really fun, and it was different from the rest of the movie, and when they were trying to show something that was a little more on the mystical side or something, it got kind of weird. The movie it was very dark at times and very violent. I don't think that they explained enough about what was going on in Cowslip's Warren, but they didn't gloss over the Efferfins. General Woundwort, he was at first he seemed kind of old, like a big old rabbit. When he gets in the fight with Bigwig, and they're just like ripping at each other and just going at his throat, and Bigwig didn't say his line. He didn't say "Sofly Hraka u Emblira." What? Blackavar, the rabbit they rescued, who's got his ears all torn up, he died. And it was a really violent death. There were definitely scenes that, made me pull back a little bit when they show the original Warren getting destroyed and the rabbits. It shows them all trying to get out of the hole and it's all plugged up, and it shows them suffocating in there. It's dark and it's serious stuff.